Eden Zero chapter 215 is out, and this is another good chapter. I don't think it's my favorite, but we do end this chapter off with a pretty big reveal of a big question that we've been thinking about over the last 5 chapters. So I'm happy for that, and if you saw the thumbnail, chances are you probably figured it out already. But either way, this is a really awesome chapter. While it wasn't my favorite of all time in this arc, I think it had some nice build up to the reveal at the end. So we'll get into that when we get into it. But before we move on, don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell for updates on future videos. It really does help, and it shows you guys wanted to see more Eden Zero in the future. I am planning to start doing live reactions to Eden Zero at some point once this arc is over instead of the chapter reviews. But if the series does well, I'll probably end up doing both. So let's see how that goes, but either way, live reactions are going to come for Eden Zero at some point, most likely when this arc officially comes to an end. So look forward to that. But anyway, let's hit that intro and get right into the review. So chapter 215 of Eden Zero, titled From the Depths of the Earth, which pretty good title, and it ties into the chapter pretty nicely. I also like this cover image of Rebecca. Mashima always giving us some nice Rebecca images. I must respect the man. Anyway, we start from the end of the previous chapter with Shiki standing in front of the destruction where he defeated and killed Ziggy, with Pino being released from the wormhole. He goes on to ask if Shiki knew that was Ziggy the entire time, but Shiki clarifies saying no, he just feared us out during the fight, with a very key piece of dialogue that I am surprised that no one pointed this out before chapter 213. Shiki remembered that Ziggy called Pino little girl, when he said, "You dare to defy me, little girl?" So that was a key clue that wasn't Ziggy, that wasn't the evil Ziggy, but that was the true Ziggy. As she says, it's something you would call a human girl, right? As we go to Pino, and she just gives the most wholesome smile ever, and I just really love Pino. She is probably the cutest character in this whole show, and the wholesomeness, I just feel it right here and right now, and I'm glad that Mashima did the whole Pino fake out death. It was honestly something that I'm just happy with and I'm okay with, because more Pino, thank you. We need some wholesomeness in this series. She goes on to say that Ziggy was a pretty good person, but Pino just says, well, it's because he was originally you, and Shiki's kind of like not sure how to process or feel about all this, because he doesn't really feel like it's real, because, time loop shenanigans. But Shiki says, Grandpa's power has fallen into me. So now, we cut over to the Eden Zero. So yeah, Shiki's about to say something, we just cut back to the Eden Zero. And we see Sister and Hermit's reactions to Ziggy dying, with Sister just saying, "You're leaving me too, Ziggy?" And Hermit reacting, like trying to hold back tears, as she just says, "You never gave up on your pride, Ziggy." As we then hear emergency alarms blaring all around the ship, with everyone reacting to this bizarre alert, with Herman being very concerned about this. She runs over to Connor and tells him to get the ship ready to depart, and to call everybody back to the ship. We then cut back to the underpart of Lendard, where Rebecca and Wise are getting ready for Project Planet Eater, as Feather's ship ends up coming in, and Rebecca and Wise are getting ready to fight, but Feather just says, "Look, we have no intention of fighting you right now," as they see Eraser carrying Homura towards them, as he says, "She helped out our little Justice out of a jam. And one good turn deserves another, so we're here to return her." And I like how Wise is just giving like a big scowl towards Eraser right now, because technically they're enemies, so he doesn't trust them with his friends. So nice point of contention there, showing Wise's concern. And I like Eraser's just nonchalant attitude, being just saying, "Don't scowl, we really don't want to fight you right now. And wow, what is this place? It's incredible." He lays Homura down on the ground, with Rebecca going to check on her. She is unconscious. But Feather says that they have to leave the planet quickly, as a chronophage is on its way to Lendard, shocking everybody, and Happy gets a call from Hermit, calling Rebecca, saying that Operation Planet Eater is cancelled. The chronophage is already headed to Lendard, and they have to return to the ship now. Happy's wondering if Rebecca called the chronophage, but Rebecca didn't, and was wondering, did it really come and change course without them knowing or influencing them? Eraser says that yeah, the Chronophage thing is 100% true and I have no idea what's going on with you guys. But he also says, considering the circumstances, we don't want to fight you, or rather, it's really not that time. As then a wormhole opens up as Shiki falls out of it, landing on the ground, calling out, wondering if everyone got Hermit's message. So, somehow in that fight right before Ziggy died, he transferred the wormhole ether gear to Shiki. So now Shiki has 2 ether gears, which is insane. I was wondering if we were going to have anything added to Shiki besides this new overdrive form, but him having wormhole is really cool, and I'm wondering if we're going to get some sort of like new ways to do this, because we didn't really see Ziggy use wormhole that much in the story after acquiring it. He used it a lot against Elsie, but didn't really use it against Shiki. So I'm curious to see how Shiki's going to utilize that, because with his gravity powers plus wormhole, he can be he has a lot of maneuverability and speed in all regards. Which begs the question, could the rest of the crew get more ether gear, or is it just an application of Satan's gravity? It is a curious question, but if other people can get more than 1 ether gear, I wonder if we're going to encounter a character like that again in the future. But I just like Wise's just shocked and dumbfounded face with seeing Shiki just jump out of a wormhole. Shiki says that he got this power from Ziggy, but to never mind that, and they have to leave, as he looks over to Eraser, and is just, wondering what's going on. As Eraser goes on to think, Shiki Granbell, the man with the ether of a demon king. Shiki even goes out of his way to warn them to get out of there because their Chronophage is coming. And Eraser's like, well, yeah, we know. Shiki says that he has to go and find Elsie, but Eraser just says, you don't have to worry about Elsie. You don't have to bother with her. As he goes on to say that apparently she wants to talk to Justice alone. They fought each other for ages, and now they're finally talking. Let's not be a third wheel. So yeah, he's kind of like joking around that this is like a date for these two lovebirds, and it's obvious these two have feelings for each other. And after everything we had with Elsie in the previous chapters, I honestly do think it's needed that these two need to actually talk it out. And I wonder if Justice is going to believe what Elsie says about, Jesse killing her crew, trying to execute her, and potentially revealing that the person that killed Creed was Jesse. So I'm curious how that's going to play out. But Feather just says Justice has been informed of the approaching Chronophage. They can escape when it becomes necessary. And Shiki takes his information and is like, okay then, we're out of here. Come on everybody, grab on. I'll open a wormhole to the ship. Shiki grabbing Rebecca as she just gives this very nice smile stating, I'm glad you're okay, Shiki, with Shiki smiling back. But before they go, Eraser asks an important question. What are you people after? As Shiki just smiles at him and says, adventure. We're going to find Mother. So I'm glad that despite all this is still their goal. That's the goal that they set out to do at the beginning of the series, and that has not changed whatsoever. With Shiki taking everyone into the wormhole and leaving. Feather just states, Shiki and his party moved instantaneously to the Eden Zero. That power belonged to Nero. As well, Eraser says, technically it's the power Ziggy took from Nero. So did Shiki beat him? As Feather just says, I've lost Ziggy's positional information, and judging by Shiki's position a few minutes ago, it is a certainty. As Eraser just cracks a smile from this, as it does seem he was rooting for Shiki, and he kind of knows that Shiki's an all-in-all good person, and that answer kind of helped solidify that. But yeah, we cut back to the Eden Zero as they're getting ready to launch. As Wise is just wondering if Connor can even get this thing to fly due to their engines being busted, since half of their engines are busted. Connor just says, who do you think I am? As he looks over at Rebecca and just stays silent for a moment because, Rebecca is his daughter, and now that everyone besides her and Shiki's group know the truth, this piece of information is going to have to come out at some point. We then cut to Shiki and Hermit as they meet up. As she just tells Shiki, I know it was hard, with Shiki just saying, it was just as hard for you. Hermit goes on to say, now might not be the time to bring this up, but the real enemy Ziggy was talking about, the one that was controlling him. As Shiki looks over to Hermit as she continues to explain, when Ziggy left the Eden Zero 18 years ago, he said something to Elsie. He said he couldn't keep a big ship at Granbell because it's a theme park. But Hermit says, but then it doesn't make sense. When did he build it? So I don't think she's talking about Granbell. I don't think she's talking about the theme park. Based on the dialogue, it could just be like a translation thing, for all I know. But she goes on to explain, it was probably already under construction when we were in outer space. A blank period in our memories. I don't know why he would have built it. You see, this is why I'm thinking that this is not the theme park that he's talking about. And it's more or less going to come to fruition at the end of this chapter. She goes on to say, but I guess he wanted a spare ship in case something happened to the Eden Zero. And this part might be a jump in logic, but I think it developed its own will, one that was in opposition to Ziggy's goals. So yeah, obviously this isn't the theme park, but the way this sentence originally started made you think that she was talking about the theme park, but in reality, she was talking about something else. I think it was just a weird choice of dialogue, but he corrected himself on the same page, so I don't mind. Shiki responds, its own will? As the planet begins to rumble all around, with everyone wondering what is going on. There's a massive heat source up ahead, and something is coming out of the ground, with Hermit continuing her explanation. Its AI was too advanced. It surpassed the intelligence of humans and the intelligence of machines. We then see something arise from the ground. As Connor says, it were here all along, as we see an image of the ship rising from the ground facing the Eden Zero, with Hermit's explanation being finished, stating, a ship with unparalleled power and matchless intellect. That is our real enemy. With the final page of the chapter revealing the Eden's One as the true enemy. A ship with a mind of its own. Ending the chapter. So the big twist reveal is that the Eden's One is the main villain of the series, a very advanced and powerful AI that surpassed human and machine intelligence. So the final villain, seemingly for Eden Zero, is a fish. Anyone getting Key of the Starry Heaven vibes? If you don't know what that reference is, it's the anime canon filler arc in the fairy tale anime, where literally the big giant clock machine thing was literally like a giant fish. I don't know if Mashima took from that and decided to redo it for this, but either way, this was a relatively good reveal. Because if we go back to chapter 210, when Mashima revealed that there is a true enemy, he used the word "it's here on this planet." Now, it could have just been something for like a speculation thing, but the very first panel he showed when he said "it's here on this planet" was the Eden's One. So it makes a lot of sense. Plus, the Eden's One was not addressed at all in this entire arc, aside from the beginning, with it calculating a way to find Mother's location. So all in all, it kind of makes sense and was kind of obvious, because everything was dealt with besides the Eden One, because aside from Clown being the only enemy still alive, I think, the Eden's One was the only thing just what was not addressed. So that takes away what could have been something. I think a lot of us would have just wondered, what is the Eden's One, why was it made in the first place, and why was it not addressed at all in this arc? So it makes a lot of sense for the Eden's One to be addressed in this way, and for it to be an AI, because, you know, there are no humans in the future, ether runs out, all machines go away, so it's very possible that this specific AI was responsible for that. It also makes some sort of sense for Ziggy to be taken over by it, because they were in close proximity to each other. If the Eden's One was stuck under Granbell or somewhere else, based off of Hermit's words that the Eden's One was based on Granbell and was being built while the Ziggy and the Shining Stars were on the Eden Zero, sailing away with and having their gap in their memories, it makes a lot of sense, and potentially Ziggy kind of had a feeling that something might have been off with the Eden's One, which is why he let Elsie keep the Eden Zero safe. So I'm glad that we're addressing this, because I did not realize the inconsistency and the question of Ziggy not wanting to keep the Eden Zero on Granbell because of guests to the theme park, even though they haven't had guests in a long time on that theme park for like 100 years. But yeah, I mean, I'm curious to see where Mashima's going to go with this, because I doubt the final battle is going to be like, you know, a giant like spaceship battle between the Eden Zero and the Eden's One. We're going to get something with it. It might have like a physical form that isn't a ship or something, but I'm curious to find out. But with this reveal, the arc is basically at its end. We probably got maybe 2, maybe 3 chapters max before this arc ends. We get some cooldown time and then the start of the next arc. So I'm curious how things are going to go from here, and how this Eden's One thing is going to affect the wider story of Eden Zero. But yeah, that was the chapter. Chapter 215 in Eden Zero was honestly pretty good. Shiki got a nice upgrade again. He got 2 upgrades in this arc, one being the new overdrive state, which I wonder if he can access willingly now, and 2, he's got wormhole. So that's another nice power up, so that would actually be very effective, especially right now, if they need to get out of that place very quickly. If Shiki is able to, he might be able to make a giant wormhole. I'm worried that I don't think much was gonna like make it just a giant ship fight. We're definitely gonna get like some stuff with the Edens 1 and everything, but again, we'll have to find out a bit later in the future. But for now, that was it for the chapter, and I honestly enjoyed it. What did you guys think of this chapter? What did you guys think of the reveal of the Edens 1 being the main villain of the series so far, being the true enemy that took over Ziggy? Leave your thoughts, opinions, and theories in the comment section down below, as I really do enjoy talking to you guys. And with all that said and done, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope you all have an awesome day.